Good evening, sim racing fans, and welcome to Podium eSports' coverage of the 2021 Dirt Sprint Car Championship Series presented by AllStar Visuals, Oceanic Dirt Sim Events, and SpeedShop51.com. Tonight, we bring you coverage of Round 5 live in the virtual Williams Grove Speedway in Mechanicsburg, Pennsylvania. I'm Justin Prince, alongside with my colleague Taylor Burris. Our producer Zach Johnson is behind the scenes down to the virtual production trailer. Zach is using cameras provided by Dougie Beard. Thank you for tuning in for what's expected to be an intense night of action. As Taylor, we get ready to go dirt racing at a very unique circuit for what's expected to be a very wild night.
It certainly is, Justin, and good evening, everyone, as we are here at probably one of the biggest dirt tracks up in the Northeast here in Pennsylvania, and we're about to get ready for heat race number 1.
Drivers have already completed qualifying. The top driver tonight in qualifying was Kenny Miller with the 16.9. That's with Lane Stevens, who will be starting to the outside in heat number 1 tonight. Jesse Dunkas will start in 3rd. Jacob Denny will start in 4th with Matt Dixon, Stephen Goldner, Michael Sellers, Michael Heilman, Caden Folkerts, and Brandon Steele being your 10 drivers in heat number 1. Tonight brings us to Mechanicsburg, Pennsylvania, the Ascot of the East, as Williams Grove Speedway is called. This half-mile facility has been open since 1939, and we're ready to race in afternoon conditions to start off today in sim time, just past 4 p.m. today, Taylor. First things first, as we get ready to go heat racing here, your expectations for this track?
A lot of high speeds. This track is probably one of the bigger dirt tracks that we go to compete at here in the Dirt Sprint Car Championship. A lot of drivers are going to have to make sure that they survive this circuit and make sure that they try to find that inside groove and utilize it to the best of their abilities.
Let's take a look at your iRacing track facts for tonight as the drivers now get rolling for tonight's action. Again, we're at the Ascot of the East tonight. As mentioned, this track will feature 12 degrees of banking in the turns, 3 degrees down the straightaways, and this facility has hosted many events throughout its history, including the World of Outlaws held in October, where drivers compete for $56,000 to win for the National Open each year here at this facility. Tonight as well will feature, for race analysis, a grand total of up to 6 heats, top 2 from each heat transferred to the feature, with the E, the D, the C, and the B main. Also bring drivers down to potentially battle for the feature. Keep in mind the B main, where those drivers up to top 8. Feature at all is based on car count. Once again, 35 green flag laps will be also on the dock for tonight for a 20-car field overall for tonight's feature race. So, in other words, you have to keep yourself out of trouble to make sure you get into that top 2 for the heat races tonight.
You certainly have to, Justin. Usually we've seen how the race leaders have been able to pull away throughout this entire season in these heat races. It's usually the battle for second place. Sometimes, even though we've seen some heat races where the top 2 starters are usually the top 2 who will work their way into the feature race later on tonight. So we'll keep an eye on that as the pace truck pulls away.
The iRacing pace truck is off. We're all set to go for heat number 1. It's Kenny Miller in control of the field. Green flag is out. We're underway from Williams Grove. And a good launch by Kenny Miller as he makes his way towards the middle of the racetrack. To the outside goes Lane Stevens. Already Stephen Goldner jumping his way up to 3rd position in the backdrop as they go underneath the bridge. Into turns 3 and 4 as they fan to the bottom side of the racetrack. Kenny Miller will lead the first lap.
Almost some 3-wide action for 3rd position as they dive it into turn 1 and 2. Right now, Jesse Dawkins trying to slide his way up to Lane Stevens in that 2nd spot, but to no avail as they work down the back straightaway through turns 3. You'll see Stephen Goldner to work his way to the inside to get around Dawkins, but Dawkins with the outside momentum tries to propel.
A lot of shuffling now right behind them in 3rd position still, though, as they continue to try and fight. This is now almost a full second behind the transfer spot. Goldner in the Velocity race design machine working to the bottom of the racetrack, trying to carry momentum. Still can't get a breakaway away from Jesse Dawkins as now the Canadian tries to make a move to the bottom.
Big slide job by Dawkins as we see a crossover by Goldner. They'll go side by side down the back straightaway underneath the bridge. They'll go into turn 3. Goldner holds on to 3rd position while Michael Sellers tries to do a big hip check right there. Contact happens. 3 drivers into the wall as they continue on their way.
Michael Sellers, Jacob Denny among the drivers into the wall. Lane Stevens still is now your quickest car on the track, 7/10 back of your race leader, Kenny Miller, at halfway this time by. It's been a good start for Kenny Miller. He's been competitive all season, Taylor. We're seeing that speed early.
He's certainly showing the speed here early on in heat race number 1, but can he keep that momentum on his side right now throughout the duration of the feature race later tonight? Keeping an eye through the field right now, Lane Stevens still holds that second spot by about 1.7 seconds over Steven Goldner right now, sits in third, but we have a change for the lead possibly as Stevens looks to the inside of Miller.
That's after contact with the Armco barrier on the outside of 3 and 4 last time by. Miller now having to go defensive for the first time since the opening lap. Stevens trying to slow roll the bottom along with him, loses time back. And just like that, from 1/10 of a second difference back to 6/10 with 3 laps to go, as it's now over a second and a half plus to the transfer position to third.
Coming out of turn 3 and 4, it's going to be 2 laps to go here for your race leader, Kenny Miller. Heat race number 1 still as they head down into the turns 1 and 2. Up to the top side of the racetrack, trying not to hit the Armco as they come off turn 2, rocketing down the back straightaway. Michael Heilemann has now worked his way up into 4th position right now, but it's going to be a tall order for him to get up to Lane Stevens as he is in heavy battle with Brandon Steele.
White flag is out, final lap for heat number 1, and keep in mind these drivers fighting for potential track position for the respective letters of the alphabet later on tonight outside those transfer spots. But up at the front, it's Kenny Miller, who has dominated to start things off. The Phantom Motorsports driver takes the checker flag. He and Lane Stevens advance directly to the feature. Steven Goldner, Michael Heilemann, Brandon Steele, Matt Dixon, Jesse Dacas, along with Denny Folkerts and Michael Sellers will all have to go through the alphabet as a result here. Drivers now getting all set to go for heat number 2. As we get ready to go, it's the Little Hurricane, Mason Hannigan, who will bring us to the green flag. Travis Oldfield in second, Garrett Halsey, Trevor Frank in row 2. Tyler Chalk will start in row 3 alongside Bowden Smith, with Curtis Merriman starting in the 71 today in 7th. Trey Galgan starts in 8th. And here's some surprises towards the bottom of the board. Alex Bergeron 9th, Bradley Cox in 10th. Keep in mind that several drivers, including Bergeron, were taking part earlier tonight in Dirt Car eSports competition. So minimal practice potentially for a couple of the competitors.
Something to keep in mind of course, Alex Bergeron competing in the Dirt Car eSports series. It's a very commendable thing for him to do, as he was there out there in the Big Block Modified not too long ago. But it's time to put on the racing here and go up here with the sprint cars up in Williams Grove. So we'll have to see what he can do in a short period of time. And I believe he missed the grid.
I believe so indeed. But I'd like to remind you that this heat is sponsored by Speed Shop 51. Speed Shop 51 is an iRacing setup shop which offers individual setup packs, coaching, custom designs, and much more. Their main goal is to help improve the skill level of all competitors across the iRacing platform. Speed Shop 51 was established in December 2020 by Clayton Tilley. For more information, you can check out their website at .speedshop51.com or follow them on Facebook and Instagram today. Drivers getting ready to go for the 1 to go signal. Your expectations here for heat number 2?
Going to be interested to see what Hannigan can do. He does have a little bit of momentum on his side after some great runs for the past couple of weeks. Keep an eye on him, as well as Trey Galgan. He's going to be one towards the back. He has the speed, but he needs to try to close the gaps and try to see if he can survive these heat races in order to get through alphabet soup. And Tyler Chalk, of course, a former winner this season so far. Let's see what he can do here tonight, starting 5th in this heat race.
Keeping my eyes open, especially on how things could fare out in heat number 2, but it's Mason Hannigan for the field. Heat number 2 is underway from Williams Grove. Good launch from Mason Hannigan as he makes his way already towards the top line. Several drivers fan out. Garrett Halsey already battling for second. Slides up and makes contact with Oldfield. Oldfield gets hit. They crash hard into the Armco. Upside down goes Oldfield as several cars go flying up into the bubble spot. As a result is Halsey from that contact. It is now right behind them, Tyler Chalk.
Tyler Chalk right now in that number 12 as he works his way off turn 2, trying to see if he can make up ground on Halsey, but he's got the 71 of Curtis Merriman right there behind him as they work through turns 3 and 4. He does have damage to the front nose, missing that front wing right there. That is going to affect the handling of his sprint car here as he dives up to the top side of the racetrack, trying to build that momentum to catch up to Garrett Halsey.
Keep in mind that Mason Hannigan is still up in the race lead by a significant margin. So far looking very strong early on, looking to slow roll at the bottom. Halsey still in second, Chalk in third, Bowden Smith is up to fourth. It's Curtis Merriman who's up to fifth position. Galgan rounds out the top 5 at the moment in this respective heat as we're coming up to lap 5 this time by. The gap is slowly closing up. Note that is one car having to make their way down to the pit lane. We'll have to respectively go through the alphabet as a result. Trevor Frank.
Tough break for those drivers right there. As you see, both the 38 of Oldfield, the 21 of Frank, their day is done until they have to go through alphabet soup. But right now, we are keeping an eye on the battle for the race lead in heat race number 2. Mason Hannigan and Garrett Halsey battling it out right now. About 7/10 of a second separate the two drivers as they have approached 5 laps to go.
Coming up to 4 to go this time by as Halsey makes his way to the bottom of the racetrack. Top line preferred for Mason Hannigan now, as this is now where the track progression starts to come into play now for these competitors. It's looking like that top line right along that Armco on the top line is starting to really come in here at this circuit.
It certainly is, Justin. I mean, they're using the top side in turns 1 and 2, the bottom side of the racetrack through turns 3 and 4. That seems to be the preferred line here at Williams Grove. As you watch here, they'll go right to the top side of the racetrack for your race leaders in turns 1 and 2, and then they'll snake their way, hugging that inside Armco barrier through turns 3 and 4 in order to get the most grip found, which is a smart move, trying to find different lanes to know where your car will best suit you as you try to race around Williams Grove.
Top 2 have checked out by more than 2.5 seconds just about, as keep in mind that battle for third still has Chalk in that calm position for now. Bowden Smith, meanwhile, has been passed of note by Curtis Merriman. It was Cameron Merriman who took the checker flag last week, but the white flag is out. Final lap for this respective heat. Mason Hannigan and Garrett Halsey, they have been comfortably 1-2 since the back straightaway of lap 1 after the craziness there. But for Mason Hannigan, he'll get the chance to celebrate. He moves directly to the feature with the checker flag. Garrett Halsey will join him in the feature. Tyler Chalk, Curtis Merriman, Trey Galgan, Bowden Smith, Bradley Cox, Trevor Frank, Travis Oldfield, all our drivers who were involved in respective incidents who will have to go through the alphabet tonight. Some interesting racing so far, to say the very least, as that brings us right into heat number 3. And now that brings us directly to our defending race winner from last week at Weedsport Speedway. It's Cameron Merriman with Dylan Ayler on the outside. Gage Stevens will start in third with Larry Moody in fourth. Trey Smith will start in the 5th position. In 6th spot goes to Jordan Lawrenson. Brennan Lacey starts in 7th with Ben Kalin, and Austin Suttleman rounding out the 9 drivers on the starting grid for heat number 3. And for Cameron Merriman, he had a great performance last week, Taylor, to say the very least. That was their 4th different winner in 4 races to start off the season. Hayden Cardwell, Alex Birchall, and Tyler Scheller are the race winners.
Certainly so. So it's very interesting to see, will momentum follow on Cameron Merriman in order to see if he can break this trend, or will he maybe crack under pressure and see someone else take home the checker flag here at Williams Grove? We'll have to see what happens here tonight as we get ready to take the green flag here in a couple of laps.
Indeed, these drivers will get the chance to prepare for tonight's action, as once more, several different organizations having the chance to show what they can do as well. Several Tony Store Racing machines mixed in here. You have various other organizations among your top drivers for qualifying order for this respective heat. One more pace lap here. What have you noticed when it comes to how the battling has gone so far? Because it seems, at least for our top 2, it's been much more calmer compared to some of the other races we've seen at some of the other tracks for heat racing so far.
We certainly have. I mean, we've seen drivers out of the top two just pull away. They've tried to pull a little bit of slide jobs in the entrance of turns 1 and 2, but for the most part, we see a lot of drivers from third on back utilizing the top side for the first lap to get things warmed up, and then we'll see them dive into the bottom of the racetrack through turns 3 and 4 on the following set of corners, as well as even trying to pull a slide job very early on to try to gain that position and time needed to go for a chance in this top two.
We'll see how heat number 3 goes for tonight's action, as we've quickly gone through our first heats with some calm battling towards the front for the transfer spots. We'll see how that continues and if that ends up getting broken up in heat number 3. Green flag is out, off and away we go. Cameron Merriman with a great launch, already up to the top line. That's been the trend throughout the day so far. Aylor trying to hold on to second. Contact already behind them for about 4 from back. Rest of drivers able to go single file though. Aylor now gets spun for the transfer. Into that spot goes Trey Smith. Austin Settleman followed through. So the two Tony Stewart Racing machines up to 2-3.
Here they go side-by-side racing. Settleman to the inside, Schmidt to the top side of the racetrack. They'll go still side-by-side off turn 2. A little bit of slight contact behind them between Dylan Aylor and Larry Moody as they work through turns 3 and 4. But here comes Trey Smith with a big run on the top side of turn 3 and 4. He will get second, but Settleman wants that second spot. He wants to not have to go through alphabet soup. Here they come off turn 2.
Teammates now looking to have some fun as now Austin Settleman watches as Smith lets up into turn 3 for the space, looking to get the run though off the corner and does. Side by side, better run, drag race at the stripe, back and forth in fact to the stripe. Schmidt still trying to work the very top line still. Settleman preferring the bottom groove as Schmidt has that preferred line for the backstretch. Better run though down the backstretch into turn 3. Still side by side. Cameron Merriman meanwhile has checked out by 2 seconds as they continue to drain the bubble.
Merriman very happy with these two battling because that just allows him to pull away. 2-second gap between him and Austin Settleman as they work their way down the back straightaway. Settleman now finally has the second position away from his teammate Trey Smith as they come off turn number 4. Now as they work their way through, keeping an eye on 4th and 5th position between the Aylor and Moody. They have started to separate, but this is the battle to watch here for second, the transfer spot between the two teammates.
Coming up to 4 laps to go, just past halfway. This time by is now Smith. Starting to lose some ground, in fact. Starting to struggle a little bit, it seems, here at this moment, Taylor, because he's trying to use the middle line in 3 and 4. That has been a line we haven't seen come in too much yet so far. A lot of slick has also been built up, especially down the middle of the back straightaway, using some of that as Smith as he tries to use the middle groove. Diamonds the corner, still is about 5 car lengths behind his teammate.
Looks like it's not the best line to use. He needs to go back to the top side of the racetrack to try to make that groove work, because that was his best chance of having a shot of going toe-to-toe with his teammate Austin Settleman. But it is not working running this middle groove right now, as Settleman still pulling away by about 0.8 of a second separate the two drivers as they rocket it off turn number 4. It's going to be 2 laps to go.
Of note, 8 drivers are still remaining on the racetrack. Gage Stevens is out of the race. He is off the racetrack, the only driver in that situation, but it's been calm and quiet for the white flag this time by for race leader Cameron Merriman has continued to pull off and away for this final time around. The separation already 3 seconds between those drivers. But for Austin Settleman, it's been pretty busy. With Trey Smith trying to provide the pressure, it will be Cameron Merriman who wins the heat. It'll be Austin Settleman who will hold on to second. Trey Smith goes to third, and Lordson and Moody among your top 6. Keep in mind the top 2 transfer as Lacey and Kalen go back and forth at the stripe for 7th and 8th position. Gage Stevens rounds out the top 9 for those respective drivers and brings us straight into heat number 4. Aiden Berlin will start in first position with Rico Robles in second spot. Cole Newhoffen will start in third in the Wicked Cushion machine with Jake Erickson to his outside. William Racine in one of the Team Dirt Car Racing machines starts in fifth with Zach Hollinger in sixth position. David Holloman will look to start in seventh with Troy Burkhart in eighth. And then it's Ricky Sanders rounding out the 9 drivers in this respective heat. These drivers now getting all set to go. We like to remind you that this heat is presented by Oceanic Dirt Sim Events, Australian iRacing League specializing in dirt events. For more information, visit Oceanic_dirt_sim_events on Instagram today. Been some fun so far here, Taylor, so far, but for these respective drivers, they now have to deal with a very worked-in racetrack at this point. How do you feel this is going to affect the battle for the transfer, knowing how things have broken down so far?
We kind of already started to see that in that last heat race with that battle for the transfer spot between the two teammates. We saw how the outside group worked for a little bit, but then the inside lane prevailed the best. So we're going to see some different strategies, some different lines of driving possibly for these drivers here in these remaining heat races. So keep an eye on see where the drivers decide to place their car in these opening laps.
We have a problem on the grid. I think Ricky Sanders, I should now say, just got rolling, had a problem getting his engine started, so that could have been problems by the time they got around in 3 and 4. That's going to be important to make sure you get through the gears, but what else do you think is key to keep in mind now that these drivers have had some time to watch and see how their competitors have been battling so far?
Well, they're going to have to make sure that they show that a little bit of balance, that patience, but yet aggressiveness in order to try to get up into those transfer spots that we'll see here. But surviving around here is going to be difficult as it is already. Here we've seen some drivers already early on in the other heat races be taken out because of a mistake that they caused or get caught up in someone else's mistake.
Want to go signal this time by. Who are you keeping your eye on the most for this respective heat?
Well, of course, you got Aiden Berlin, who's been one of the top drivers so far this season in the Dirt Sprint Car Championship. And then, of course, you also have William Racine and David Heidelman as well. Keep an eye on those drivers. They always have had strong performances this season. Can they maybe come out and have a shot? And then, of course, you have Cole Newhoffen, who is in 3rd position, one of the pro drivers.
Our racing pace truck is off. Green flag is out. Berlin brings us to the green flag. A good launch once more by our control car. Robles quickly makes his way to the outside. Newhoffen forced down to the bottom side, trying to battle side by side for that 2nd position. Better run though, coming into the corner. Newhoffen looks to slide his way into 2nd. Still side by side as several drivers join the fray behind. Still side by side with contact down the front stretch.
Big time contact between the two drivers in the 8 as well as the 3 of Rico Robles as they work off turn 2. Robles then pulls away and he wants more. He sets his sight on Aiden Berlin. He slides to the inside and goes side by side, but Berlin will hold on to that position, rocketing off the top side off turn 4.
They now reset with 8 laps to go. To the bottom side goes Robles. Newhoffen goes to the middle line. This is all while Sanders, after stalling on the grid and having a problem getting the car rolling, has moved his way into the battle for 4th position. How about 3 wide on the top side as he makes the cushion work?
He moves up to that 4th spot, and he wants more. He's going to go to the top side to try to follow around with Cole Newhoffen as they work off turn number 2. We see Rico Robles working the inside lane now as he tries to hold on for 2nd. Here comes Sanders to the top side of the racetrack off turn 4, scrapes the wall a little bit, keeps it going straight. He almost had a shot at going after Newhoffen.
Here comes David Heidelman, though. The Howlemaniac will now send it. A massive send on Sanders. Can't get it to fully stick. Dan's now set up Heidelman for a battle with several drivers. Sanders back up to 4th position. Continues to try and work that cushion. Near side by side for 2nd in front of them halfway this time. Back side by side now for 3rd, in fact, as Sanders wants that spot.
He certainly does as Newhoffen tried to pull a slide job on Robles for 2nd, but to no avail. Robles powers back on the inside. Through turns 3 and 4 they go. Sanders on the top. Big send right there for Heidelman. Will he make it stick? 3 wide for 2nd. Contact. Heidelman, Robles, and Newhoffen all collected up, but gathering on and more contact.
Huge contact as they go upside down. Both Newhoffen and Sanders crash. That has moved Rico Robles into the transfer spot. Ricky Sanders, Zach Hollinger, among several others, now off the circuit as a result of trouble and then some throughout this respective heat. But with 3 laps to go to reset, is Berlin now in the lead by 2 seconds. Robles in 2nd. Then 3/10 back as Heidelman after the contact. Racine in 4th. Those drivers now have a shot. It's the question of, can anyone get up to the 3 in 2 laps, Taylor?
Certainly so. Here comes David Heidelman to the outside of Rico Robles as they work through turns 1 and 2. Robles tries the big slide through there, but here comes a big momentum from David Heidelman. Side by side down the back straightaway. Here comes Heidelman. He'll get the transfer spot into turns 3 and 4. Still holding on as they come off of turn 4. Robles, though, struggling to try to get up.
White flag is out, final lap for heat number 4 now as Berlin in a comfortable margin. Howman has closed up that margin though by nearly half a second this lap. Robles has fallen off into the 19-second bracket. That will move him out of those bubble positions for the checkered flag. Berlin slows down, still takes the checkered. David Heilman will move on with them. Robles will finish in 3rd position with Racine in 4th. Eriksson, Newhoff, Sanders, Hollinger will be your 8 drivers who take the checkered. Should be worth noting that one other driver did not take the green flag, it appears. That is Troy Burkhart for this respective heat. That brings us into heat number 5 for tonight with Hayden Harvey bringing us to the green flag this time. John Helms will start in 2nd with Jeremy St. Louis in 3rd position. It'll be Garrett Papayat, who will start in 4th with Justin Stoltz in 5th position. Wade Fields in 6th. Olivier Soares in 7th spot with Austin Griffey and Chris Sapske, rounding out the 9 drivers in heat number 5. Some intense action so far as all the drivers just about set to roll behind the iRacing pace truck here, Taylor, just waiting on the last of the drivers and John Helms at the moment. Expectations for heat number 5 now after this was just coming off one of the craziest heats so far of the evening.
It certainly was, so I can only expect the excitement to ramp up even more so as we get ready to kick off heat race number 5. Hayden Harvey, Jeremy St. Louis, very strong drivers here, as well as Chris Skapski as well. Very strong competitors this season so far in the Dirt Sprint Car Championship. We'll see what they can do here tonight at Williams Grove for this heat race.
Wade Fields did not take the green flag. Unfortunately, one driver has also had a problem getting rolling here. This is Austin Griffey now having problems getting started. The ABR setup shop back machine, the Kamikaze is the nickname that is on the front, on the top wing rather, of Griffey finally gets rolling. And that's the 2nd driver that has had trouble getting the engine started.
Very surprising to see that happening right here. We'll have to see if that's going to be a trend that we'll see later on here tonight. But as we keep an eye on that, he is able to get fired up and continued on his way. So he will be able to compete in tonight's race and thankfully not have to take a tow and miss out on this heat race.
But keep in mind, the drivers up towards the front, they're expected to be quick. Hayden Harvey, we've seen him be very quick. John Helms is known for being very quick as well, Taylor. Throughout all of this as well, Jeremy St. Louis has been competitive throughout the series so far. There's a lot of front runners that could end up going back and forth here in this heat.
They certainly can be, and that's going to be very interesting to see who can survive the back and forth, the contacts, the beating, the banging, the surviving around this circuit against these competitors, and that's what we're going to have to find out here in the next 10 laps.
All set to go as the iRacing pace truck drops off. It is Harvey and Helms in control of the field this time. As contact already, green flag is out. We're off and away with one of our latest starts so far from the restart zone of the day in the heats. Already side by side for the race lead. Helms looking to tank it away. Harvey able to hold on to it for now. Harvey goes on the defense. He goes up to the cushion. Helms works his way on the bottom of the racetrack right next to the inside Armco barriers as Harvey will lead the first lap barely.
He certainly will, but Helms tries to dive into the inside. Big slide job. Will we see the crossover by Harvey? Yes, we will. Down the back straightaway, side by side for the race lead. Jeremy St. Louis watches on in 3rd. He'll send it up to the top side of the racetrack as Helms still tries to work the bottom of the racetrack. Off turn 4, Hayden Harvey, once again your race leader as Jeremy St. Louis tries to get in this battle.
The Team Dirt Car Racing Machine, the organization with drivers based out of Quebec, looks to take away the 2nd position. Been very competitive for St. Louis this season. Can't get the move, though, yet on the high side. Working his way around that outside Armco. Makes contact with it down the front stretch. 7 laps to go. That loses him some ground to Helms as Helms goes for the slide.
Big slide job attempt for John Helms. Could not make it work as they work down the back straightaway here. Here comes Jeremy St. Louis to the inside with a big send as he tries to work the bottom of the racetrack. But we see Helms hold on to that number 21 off turn 4. Jeremy St. Louis loses a little bit of time after that big send as we still watch the battle for the race lead. Here comes Helms with a slide. Could not make it connect.
By the way, for those wondering, yes, you may have noticed moments ago things have been hectic for 4 on back because Justin Stoltz, Chris Sabeskay, and several others have been trying to cut their way through the field and been bouncing off each other. They've been 2-3 wide back here. That has now cost them more than a second for a chance to battle for the transfer spot at halfway this time, so that has been very costly for those drivers. Speaking of the drivers battling for the transfer, currently the top 3, they've changed different lines now, to the point where Helms leads at the stripe with contact.
A little bit of contact right there as Hayden Harvey will once again go back up to the race lead. Here comes Helms back to the inside. He'll go to the top side. He tries to find a hole. He'll now take the top lane through turns 3 and 4. Harvey still holds that middle groove off turn number 4, as it is still will be Hayden Harvey leading that time around. John Helms tries to find a way on the top side of the racetrack, but Harvey blocks the run.
2.5 laps to go this time by as Helms once again gets the better run. Backing it up is Harvey. Harvey goes through the slick in the bottom of the racetrack. Up to the top goes Helms. Helms now secure in the race lead and pulls away by nearly half a second. 2 to go that time by. Now the question is, can St. Louis get there? Needs to close up about 6/10. Was 6/10 quicker last time by.
He needs to keep hitting his mark. Got to stay off that arm code barrier, though, as he hits it through turns 3 and 4. Hits it again off corner 4. Here they come down the front straightaway. White flag is in the air. Hayden Harvey tries to pull the slide job over John Helms as they come off turn 2.
Helms able to hold on, though, in the fight. Down the back straightaway into turn 3. Helms right against the Armco. Able to run away. Checker flag waves. It's John Helms who will hold on, and it's Hayden Harvey who will get the final bubble in heat number 5. St. Louis will move into the alphabet with Stoltz, Sabeskay, Griffey, Papayat, and Olivier Soares. Those round out your drivers in this respective heat who took the green flag. Wade Fields did not take the start in heat number 5. That brings us into one final heat for this one, and it's Kevin Hanley who will start on the front row with Bryce Lucius in that position. Then it's Carlin Cure, who has been really quick throughout this series so far this season, in 3rd. Eddie Hartley will start in 4th. Eric Wilkie, shown some flashes of speed this season, will start 5th. Nathan Brown, Brian Cross, Wayne Rick, and Daniel Burkhardt rounding out the 9 drivers in heat number 6. This heat is presented by AllStar Visuals, your home for high-quality graphic design and outstanding customer service. If you're looking for a new racing logo or hero cards, look no further. AllStar Visuals has you covered. For more information, visit facebook.com/AllStar Visuals today. Drivers getting all set to go for a final heat race to determine which 2 drivers will go directly to the feature and which drivers will have to go through to the alphabet to try and battle through the B main later on tonight. It's been an interesting night so far, to say the very least, Taylor.
It certainly has, and a lot of, for the prizes we've seen, a lot of great battles here for these final couple of heat races, especially for that transfer and, of course, the race lead. So keep an eye on that to see what will happen as we see this final heat race and then get ready for some alphabet soup.
Who are you keeping your eye on the most in this heat?
Well, there's a couple of drivers who I'll be keeping an eye on. Drivers such as Kevin Hanley, your race pole sitter for heat race number 6. And then also a couple of other drivers to keep an eye on. It's going to be Eric Wilkie and Eddie Hartley. Very had strong performances so far this season. Need to try to see if they can close the deal down.
One more pace lap before we take the green flag here. And have to say, this season has been one of intrigue. We talked a bit about the different winners so far throughout the campaign, with the battles going on back and forth, especially those legendary fights with Hayden Cardwell, with Alex Bergeron, with Tyler Schell, with Cameron Merriman putting that dominating performance last week. It's been an impressive start to the year.
It certainly has, and it's going to be amazing to see if this trend will continue as we get ready for this race and the rest of the season.
All set to go as the iRacing pace truck is off. The final heat race is all set to go. Green flag rolls. We're off and away, and a perfect launch on the outside line from Lucius. Goes back to the outside, however, as they nearly make contact for the race lead. As As now Cure looks to battle for the bubble spot behind them, side by side as Hartley makes contact with the Armco barrier. That allows Brian Cross to get on by. Side by side for third, now side by side for the lead, in fact. Lucius trying to get the run on the outside. That sets up second spot into turn one.
Cure will go to the inside as Lucius will make contact with the Armco barrier off turn two as they work down. Here comes Eric Wilkie in the 41. He'll dive it to the inside. He will now move up to third position right now. He wants more, though. He's going to try to go for second now as we have a new race leader. Carlin Cure moves up ahead of Kevin Hanley.
What a drive so far for the Rocket Racing Setups back machine, as now he looks to check out.
Four wide.
Make it four. Yes, indeed, with contact. They crash down the back straightaway. Lucius and several others involved. Those were your front row drivers. It is now Cure and Cross in the bubble spots, as a majority of the drivers involved with significant damage as a result of that incident.
That now puts Brian Cross in the catbird seat. Eddie Hartley right there in hot pursuit as they work down the back straightaway. Here he comes. Hartley to the outside. Cross running the middle groove as now Hartley will diamond it off of turn four. He'll then try to cross over to the inside of Brian Cross side by side. He'll then take the position away. Will Cross try to crossover move as they come out of turn two? The answer is going to be yes. They're going to be side by side off turn two. Side is continuing. Cross gets the position into turns 3 and 4 with Hartley on the top side.
Hartley going for the cross now, and the Tony Store Racing Machine a bit of a squeeze, in fact, at the halfway mark this time. Cross pushed up, Cross up to second. Contact with the Armco, though, for Hartley. Back underneath goes Cross. Looking for the cross up now, underneath the blue bridge. Once more down the back stretch. Cross able to defend well. Hartley tries to go for the cross. Back on Cross as they try and continue to cross each other up. Back and forth with 4 to go.
I think we've said enough cross right now, but we're going to see another crossover here from Brian Cross and Eddie Hartley as they come off of turn number 2. Down the back straightaway, Brian Cross still holds on as Carlin Cure is just pulled away. 3 laps to go coming to the line.
Let's just say that was intentional with the cross, as Brian Cross continues to hold on with second. Up to the wall he goes to try and now get some distance as Wilkie now joins the fight. Wilkie was one of the drivers involved, keep in mind, in that 4-wide incident. Just a few laps to go. 2 laps to go this time by in this respective heat. The top 4 now covered up. Rather, the top 3 of the 4 covered by 1 second.
We just saw the popsicle sticks up in the air as they work their way down the back straightaway. Here comes Carlin Cure off of turn number 4. White flag is in the air. Eric Wilkie tries the Big Ten, makes contact with Hartley, but that allows Brian Cross to just scoot away.
This continues to pull off and away and run away for Cure. Cure is pulled away by nearly 2 seconds. Cross looking to hold on for one more set of corners. Checker flag waves as the top 2 in comfortable positions. Cure will take the checkered. Moving on with them is Cross. The rest of the field will be Hartley, Wilkie, Burkhart, and Brown, Hanley, and Lucius, and Wayne Rick round out the 9 drivers in Heat 6 tonight. Keep in mind that Wayne Rick finished early with only a couple laps turned after that incident down the back straightaway. That brings us straight into alphabet soup time. And for those who do not know, how this works out is for your E main, the top 4 move on to the D main. The D main sees the top 4 move on to the C. C sees the top 4 move on to the B. And the B main will see the top competitors over there move on to the feature. The drivers looking to move on from the E main for the front row are Jacob Denning and Trevor Frank, with Ben Kalin and Zach Hollinger in row 2. Sorias will start in 5th with Hanley in 6th. Folkerts will start in 7th. Oldfield, Stevens, and Troy Burkhart round out your top 10, Taylor.
Wade Fields will be starting in 11th position, followed by Wayne Rick in 12th position. Michael Sellers in 13th. Alex Bergeron in 14th. As Bergeron has now entered the field, this is going to be exciting to see. Can Alex Bergeron go from E-Main to feature race? Ladies and gentlemen, if you're wanting to watch a good storyline, a good show, watch that number 12 and work his way up through the field.
Again, for those who do not know, there was Dirt Car eSports taking part tonight. And Alex yes, go ahead.
Let's just say there was a lot of dirt car racing going on tonight.
Yeah, let's put it that way. It's a very big night, let's say the very least, across the sim, Taylor, for dirt car racing.
It certainly was. It started, of course, with the Dirt Car eSports series, of course, with their big block modifieds, and something called the NASCAR Pro Invitationals on FS1. The Cup car is on the Bristol Dirt configuration. We won't spoil it for anyone who hasn't gone and watched it yet, but it's a good one, and it's probably one of the well-known NASCAR iRacers who took home the checkered flag. So I'm pretty sure you can take a guess of about 3 or 4 drivers who had a shot of winning that race there tonight at the virtual Bristol Dirt.
Well, here at Williams Grove, we're all set to go with 1 lap until the green flag. You mentioned Bergeron starting shotgun here. It's going to be entertaining to see if Bergeron can do this, especially to do it cleanly, because as we know, the alphabet in this series has been hectic so far.
Well, when you're talking about a multi-champion, Justin, on the iRacing service, when it comes to not just dirt sprint cars, but dirt racing in general, he is your guy. He has won multiple championships across different platforms, whether it be sprint cars, late models, USAC non-wing sprint cars. You name it, he's done it, and very talented at it, as we'll now go back green flag racing.
And already contact with Bergeron in the wall. Green flag is out. Bergeron ends up continuing going. A tough break at the back of the field for Troy Burkhardt as Bergeron trying to jump to the outside. It's Denny now with a race lead. Trevor Frank in second. Oldfield, meanwhile, has already moved his way into a battle for third.
Ooh, trouble for Bergeron. He gets turned, actually. I have no clue. Well, that was completely uncalled for, I would have to say, by Caden Folkart right there in the number 50. I have to get a replay on that one.
And that was after some near contact, believe, out of 3 and 4 between those drivers. So Bergeron is already into the pit lane. What a start to the night. And Jacob Denny, with 9 laps to go, meanwhile, is in a very calm situation. Just needs to keep it clean up at the front.
He certainly does. Kevin Hanley's currently that 4th position driver right now, trying to hold off Olivier Siros right now in the 5th spot, and Ben Kalin. So those two are trying to hunt down the 110 of Kevin Hanley as they work down the front straightaway heading into turns 1 and 2 right now. These 4 drivers, they want to try to battle, but they also just want to make it to the next round. They want to make it to that D main, as you see the replay of the contact on the opening lap.
That's off the start, and you've seen Bergeron try to go to the outside and make it 3 wide, and then things got crazy with the 50 machine. You're going to see by the time they get to the next set of corners.
Ooh, trouble actually we have on the racetrack right now as more cars involved. Big time accident between Kevin Hanley, Trevor Franks. I'm sorry about that, Justin, but it was a major issue happening for our race, for some of our top 4 competitors, between Trevor Franks and also, I would have to say, it had to go with a 50 again, who was up on his roof. They had nowhere to go by the looks of it.
Yes, indeed, and you see the significant damage to the 50 machine. There was that car, as was Troy Burkhardt. It was on the side, down the back straightaway. It's been crazy, let's put it that way, in this E-main. It is now Denny Oldfield, Hanley, and Olivier Soares who will be in 4th position for now. For Olivier, trying to hold on with Gage Stevens closing on in with Ben Kalin from behind.
Ben Kalin in that number 72 trying to see if he can make up ground to get around Gage Stevens to see if he can work his way up through Alphabet Soup. As we keep an eye on it, race leader Jacob Denny, he has a 2-second advantage over Travis Oldfield in that 38 as they rocket off turn 2. Heading down the back straightaway, Kevin Hanley has some breathing room as well by about 0.7 of a second over Olivier Siros, over Gage Stevens, who Gage is trying to gain ground on him right now as they work off turn number 4. Ben Kalin in the popcorn position, ready to strike.
2 laps to go, as still Denny leads by 2 seconds. Oldfield still in second. Hanley still in third. Sir still calmly in 4th position. Stevens still providing a little bit of pressure, though, for the white flag lap. Final lap for the E-main. The question is, how will things shake out? We're about to find out. For Jacob Denny, it's been very calm compared to his competitors. He'll take the checker flag and move on to the D-main with Travis Oldfield and Kevin Hanley, while Suarez will hold on to the 4th position. The drivers who are done for the night as a result: Gage Stevens, Ben Kalin, Trevor Frank, Caden Folkerts, along with Troy Burkhardt, and the big one, Alex Bergeron, in 10th position on the first lap, involved in 2 separate incidents. Already done for the evening. A wild one to say the very least, Taylor.
It certainly was very unexpected, and also a tough break for Alex Bergeron, as he will not make on, as he is now out of the race tonight.
That brings us into what's going to be also an entertaining D main as a result. 12 laps, top 4 advance to the C main. It's Larry Moody and Cole Newhoffen on the front row. Austin Griffey and Nathan Brown in row 2. In row 3, it's Dunkas and Cox, followed by Lacey and Sanders. It will start alongside Bryce Lucius. Then it's our 4 drivers from our respective E-main, Denny, Oldfield, Hanley, Soares, who will be those drivers who will round out the 14 on the D-main lineup. And it's going to be now the spotlight turned towards can Newhoffen go from the D-main to the feature race, I think. And the bigger question, can some of the drivers who have been some of our quickest feature race drivers throughout the season so far make their way into the top 4 for what's expected to be a hornet's nest of a battle for the transfer?
That's going to be the question we're going to have to wait and see on, Justin. These drivers are going to try everything that they can in order to do that, but with how chaotic we've seen these races here tonight, especially towards the end, it's going to be very interesting to see who can survive it.
Take a look at a race analysis once more. We have just gone through the E-main, where the top 4 from that race advanced here to the D-main. Again, it's 12 laps up on the board for the D-main. The top 4 advance to the C-main. Then for the C-main, the top 4 advance to the B-main after 12 more laps. 12 laps for the B-main will set the top 8 who will move on directly to the feature. 35 green flag laps for tonight's feature action. Once more to reset. And tonight's feature race, keep in mind, has already seen some big names like David Howland, Mason Hannigan, Kenny Miller, Cameron Merriman, Austin Settleman locked their way in. How will tonight's D-main go for the drivers looking for a shot to get into the B-main, to get to the feature race? We're about to find out how things break down here. Green flag is out. Good launch for Moody. Off and away we go. Already Moody on the defense, though, as Newhoffen had a good launch as well in the top line. Goes to the bottom, all while they scrap on behind for about 5th or 6th on back. 2-3 wide in the Hornet's Nest as they all fan out in 3 and 4 near contact as they all go near 4 wide offset.
Great battling right here between the drivers as Larry Moody still holds on to the race lead as Hoffman.
Hard contact for Brady Cox. Cole Newhoffen is already now off the circuit as well. Cole Newhoffen with technical issues and a big moment as well for this race. Some of the pro drivers with some struggles, more drivers into the inside wall, as this continues to be a crazy, crazy D-main once more tonight.
It certainly has, and with all the chaos that happened, that will allow Austin Griffey, Jesse Dawkins, and Bryce Lucius now moving inside the top 4 right now. It's still Larry Moody, your race leader, as they work it into turns 1 and 2. Griffey tries to take a peek to the inside as we take a look at the replay as we see who will survive this battle here at Williams Grove.
Let's take a look at what happened right here, and this is with what you've seen with the carnage down the front stretch. That is Bradley Cox, who goes and crashes in the pit exits. Nathan Brown, Cole Newhoffen also currently out of this respective main so far.
Tough break for those competitors here today, and of course the drivers who were in the last main, Jacob Denny, Olivier Sierros, Kevin Hanley, Travis Oldfield, they're now running 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th, so they could see one of those drivers move their way up. Jacob Denny, though, is about 0.8 of a second back as we have approached halfway.
Larry Moody, Austin Griffey, Dunkas, and Lucius, your top 4 at the moment, separated by just 0.9. Denny has already worked his way up to 5th position. What a drive for Jacob Denny so far to make his way to the Hornet's Nest. Up towards the front, though, Larry Moody trying to hold off Austin Griffey for the race lead. They are going back and forth right in front of the 61 at the moment. To the bottom side goes Griffey, looking to stay focused like it says on his front wing. He stays focused to the lead.
Great job and a great pass by Austin Griffey. Can Larry Moody respond as they dive it into turns 3 and 4? Side by side as we see contact. Big issues for Jacob Denny. He crawls over the wall. His day is done. As we now watch on and see Lucius, Dawkins, and Moody battling on as Austin Griffey holds on to the race lead.
Denny at Oldfield now off the circuit. Ricky Sanders has also been now off the circuit as a result of the past lap with 3 laps to go. Soares is now also off the track with respective incidents. That brings us down to just 6 drivers looking to battle for 4 spots. Kevin Handley needs some luck, to say the very least. Your top 4 in comfortable positions as they all scrap for position.
Here they come off turn number 2. Popsicle sticks up in the air as they work their way through turns 1 and 2. We see Jesse Dawkins get a little bit too loose off corner exit, loses some time, but still maintains that 4th position as we see Austin Griffey holding on to the race lead. Here comes Lucius, though, with a slide crossover to the inside. Can't quite make it work. White flag should be in the air.
Final lap as Lucius looks to gain some more track position for the C main. The top 4 just trying to stay out of trouble. For Austin Griffey, meanwhile, was able to cut his way through the field. The ABR setup shot back machine takes the checker flag and wins the D main. Donkus, Lucius will all move on in the top 4. The driver's done for the night. Kevin Handley, Pyatt, Suarez, along with Sanders, Denny, Oldfield, Cox, Newhoff, a big name. Brown and Brendan Lacey did not take the green flag. So an interesting D main, to say the very least. That brings us to what's expected to be an interesting C main, where it will be Justin Stoltz, who will be on the front row with Eric Wilkie, Steele and Galgan in row 2, Lawrenson and Erickson row 3, Safeskay and Daniel Burkhart row 4, Dixon and Smith row 5, and then the rest of your field are your drivers from the D main: Griffey, Donkus, Lucius, and Moody, those 4 respective drivers. 12 more laps up on the board, and the craziness came into play. It was just a matter of wind, Taylor, tonight.
I think the craziness began once we got halfway through the heat races here tonight, Justin, and it just escalated even more so once we started doing the alphabet soup, which always happens every time here in the Dirt Sprint Car Championship. A lot of craziness happens in the alphabet soup, a lot of excitement, and a lot of great racing.
Absolutely at this point. So who do you feel can surprise some people as a result here in the C main to be able to cut their way through the field?
I would have to say Jesse Dawkins would be one of those drivers who is going to be a surprise, who can possibly work their way up through the field in order to make it to the feature race tonight.
One more pace lap. As also want to get your opinion on how you feel overall this is going to affect how the main racing is going to be for tonight, knowing how crazy the racing has been once you get a full pack of cars such as this on the field compared to the heat races.
Well, expect more cautions when we get to the feature race, because we will have cautions, but the laps will not count. So that's going to probably be one of the features that will happen later on tonight. But for now, it's just going to be a mix of who can survive the chaos through the alphabet soup, who can keep their car clean, and who can stay and capitalize on others' mistakes.
We'll see how things break down in the C main. Again, top 4 advance to the B main. We'll see how things play out here. As now the iRacing pace truck is off. Green flag waits up at the stand. Stoltz off and away. Wilkie with a decent launch. Steele with a bit of wheel spin as they battle hard for position. Galgan tries to work on the top line. Erickson also joins them. 3 wide in the Hornet's Nest. A bit of contact at the bottom of the racetrack. They go back 2 wide as they all start to check up a little bit. Coming up to the end of the first lap, though, it's Stoltz who runs away as Erickson knocks down the wall.
Big issue for Erickson as he continues to go crazy. More drivers involved. That's Jesse Dawkins, I believe, end over end on his roof, on his wing. Finally lands on all 4, but his night is probably done as he tries to go in reverse before the leaders get to him. So that's going to be interesting to see as we see a cloud of dust coming right at us as they enter turns 1 and 2.
And I have to say, this has been one of the interesting parts of the new iRacing build, to see all this dust build up. It was talked about last week, the visibility, Taylor. And we see the dust really starting to come into play here in some time, just past 5 p.m. as well.
It certainly is. Sun's getting low. The temperatures are cooling down. The excitement and racing is heating up. Here comes a big set by Chris Gavsky. He's going to try to get around Trey Galgan for the 5th spot. But once more, he's going to go around the 12 of Bowen Smith as well for that 4th position as they rocket off turn 4.
The Apple Chevrolet machine trying to hold on with that happy apple up on that top wing. Looking to go top shelf. Sibsky, though, in the Phantom Motorsports machine, looking to go in the bottom of the racetrack, right next to the inside Armco barrier.
trouble right there for Bryce Lucius. He clips one of the tire barriers and goes end over end. Another driver also on his side. More contact for poor Lucius as he goes to pit road.
Already off the racetrack as they battle now for the transfer. Smith and Sabesky battling for position. Stoltz has also been caught by Wilkie, but the focus goes to fourth for now because that happy apple watches as there's contact to the inside wall. There goes Smith up to fourth position once more. Now Smith looks to try and check out and join the rest of the top three up in front as Sabesky tries to claw his way back forward.
Sabesky trying to find a way. He'll go to the inside. Smith to the outside. Here they come off turn number 2. It's still going to be side by side as they come off turn 2. Smith holds position though. Battle for second also going on right now as we keep an eye on this transfer spot. Here comes Sabesky to the inside. Can't seem to get that inside lurk, but he rockets down the front straightaway. Might be able to pull a slide job off turn 2 here. Hugs that inside line, not to try to clip the tire barriers. Tries to slide up in front of Smith, but Smith is still there.
Once again, the Phantom Motorsports machine looking to move to the bottom of the racetrack. It's worked for many drivers, especially at this part of the racetrack. You see why the momentum into the corner. Back and forth, coming up to 2 to go this time by Smith. Continues to hold on to the top groove. Smith with a better run down the backstretch though. As Sabesky will now have to reset for the fight for position. 2 laps to go. Both of them slow roll their way down the bottom of the racetrack as they fight for second in front.
Trying to find that groove that gives him the most momentum to propel them down the straightaway here. Smith still holds on to fourth position. Here comes Sabesky, tailed it back straightaway. Entering into turns 3 and 4. He tries to get to the inside of Smith. Will not work this time around. What flag in the air?
Final lap as to say it's been relentless. This fight has been an understatement. Sabesky with a relentless slide, not able to make it stick. One more chance for the transfer spot to get to the B main. Defensive line for Smith. Near contact from Sabesky. Checker flag. Stoltz takes it. Steele, Wilkie, and Smith hold on. Those drivers will move on from the C main to the B main. Sabesky was relentless like his front wing said, but couldn't make the pass. Finishes in 5th. Lawrenson, Galgan, Moody, Griffey, Burkhart, Dixon round out the top 11 with Erickson, Lucius, and Dunkus rounding out the 14 drivers who started in the C main. It was eventful to say the very least. That brings us into the B main. Toss things over to Taylor Burris. He'll be joined by Ryan Bauer the rest of the way.
Thank you, Justin, and good evening, everyone. We're about to kick things off. Let's go through quickly the starting lineup of tonight's race for the B main. Currently, your pole sitter for B main is going to be Steven Goldner, followed by Tyler Chalk second. Trey Schmidt will be starting in third, followed by Rico Robles in fourth. Jeremy St. Louis in the fifth position with Eddie Hartley sixth. Michael Heileman in seventh with Curtis Merriman eighth. Dylan Aylor ninth. William Racine rounds out your top 10, Ryan.
Starting off in the 11th position here in this B main, that number 23 machine for Justin Stolz. Lining up next to him in the outside of the 6th row is the number 5 of Brandon Steele. Starting on the inside of row number 7, we'll see Eric Wilkie in that number 16 machine, and starting shotgun on the field in the number 2 is Bowen Smith.
Ryan Bauer, the Bearded Sim Racer, joining me here for the rest of tonight's action. Ryan, I know if you've caught a little bit of the action here tonight, your thoughts on probably some of the craziness that's happened during this alphabet soup?
Yeah, man, this speedway here, Williams Grove, puts on some great racing. I love seeing those guys working the bottom. I know there's so much room here to work around this track, but as you know, Taylor, the shortest way around the track is usually the fastest.
It certainly is, and we've seen that happen here tonight as we will now get the 1 to go signal before we take the green flag here at Williams Grove. Now, unlike what we've seen in the previous mains, this will be the B main. The top 8 move on to the feature race. 20 cars, 35 laps of excitement here at Williams Grove. Pace truck will lead them off turns 1 and 2 here as we see some of the drivers to keep an eye on. Jeremy St. Louis, Rico Robles, Trey Schmidt, of course, had some great performances during their respective heats. Ryan, who are some of the ones you'll be watching tonight?
I think we got to keep our eyes on that number 5 machine of Brandon Steele. He's had a lot of speed out here in this Dirt Sprint Car Championship Series. And also, keep your eyes on that number 44 of William Racine. We'll see what he can do here at this B main as we get ready to roll off.
Here they come off turn 4. Green flag is out. Steven Goldner gets a great jump down the front straightaway, heading into turns 1 and 2. Tyler Chalk will slot up into second position. Trey Smith now tries to cross over. He will get second away. Here comes Tyler Chalk in the 45 to the inside. Pulls the slide job, will try to make the pass complete as they work off of turn number 4. First lap is complete. Contact back a little bit further between the 71 and the 19 as they come into turns 1 and 2.
We're 4 wide and through turns 1 and 2. Robles working that middle of the track here, running in that 4th position. There's Calamity, the middle of the back straightaway. Looks like Goldner's out to a clear breakaway here.
Clear breakaway indeed for Goldner as they work down into turns 1 and 2. Goldner on the top side of the racetrack, leading the charge here at Williams Grove. Battle right now to watch is that 8th position transfer spot between Brandon Steele and Michael Heilemann. Steele goes to the inside of the 911. Here they come off turn 4. 3 wide almost as we see Heilemann go to the inside of Trey Smith. Contact is made as Steele and Heilemann and the 92 of Alor collected in the incident.
That's going to move Bowen Smith in that number 2 machine up into that final transfer spot, running in 8th, that Apple Chevrolet machine. We'll see what he can do. He's got a breakaway right now, about 0.6 of a second over Merriman. Merriman working the top, trying to get the run off turn 4.
Also, Eric Wilkie is now also inside the top 8 after that as well. So a good run for that number 41 as they rocket down the front back straightaway heading into turns 3 and 4. Goldner still your race leader by about 0.4 of a second over Jeremy St. Louis. And then still keeping an eye, Merriman about a second back from Bowen Smith for the transfer spot. Here they come out of turn number 2. And looking at the time, Smith a 10th faster than Merriman.
Here we see Trey Schmidt working the middle of the track in that white, silver, and black number 12 machine. Right behind him, that battle for the final transfer spot. They're side by side for 7th. This may allow Merriman to catch up. He's about 1.3 seconds back. Last lap was about a 10th slower than the cars in front of him.
Here they come rocketing down as we now see Merriman get passed by Brandon Steele for 9th position as they work off turn number 4. Wilkie has the transfer spot down the front straightaway here. We are past the halfway point. We're looking at 4 laps to go here as they work their way down into turns 3 and 4. Keeping an eye on that battle for the 8th transfer spot. Brian Steele has made up some ground on Eric Wilkie.
Here we see for 2nd position, Robles trying to run down Goldner. St. Louis now out in front. What's he going to be able to do? Last lap, 0.2 quicker than Goldner.
Here comes Goldner to the inside of Jeremy St. Louis as they come off of turn number 4. 3 laps to go here at Williams Grove for the B main. 8 cars guaranteed a spot in the feature race here tonight as they come off turn 2. Rico Robles still holds that 3rd position. A couple other battles to keep an eye on as pretty much the drivers in the top 5 have separated themselves. Trey Schmidt, Eric Wilkie, Bowen Smith, Tyler Chalk, and Brandon Steele still battling for position.
All eyes back here on that number 5 machine of Steele as he gets sideways off turn 4, loses all of that momentum. That's going to allow Wilkie to gap it out. Now we see Steele into the outside guardrail in turn 2. Oh, there's contact off turn 2. All this going on around that 8th position. Is this going to allow Merriman to move up into that transfer spot? They're coming off turn 4 towards you, Taylor.
White flag is in the air. Wilkie holds the transfer spot. Merriman is not able to. Brandon Steele now moves up to 7th position as we keep an eye on Jeremy St. Louis in no man's land, about a second ahead of the field. Off of turn 4 for the final time, Jeremy St. Louis will win the B main and move on, but the battle to keep an eye on is for 8th. Off turn 4, Merriman will beat out Wilkie to move on to the feature. What a race here for the B main. 8 cars will advance to the feature race here tonight. Jeremy St. Louis, Justin Stoltz are your top 2 finishers, but for drivers such as Wilkie and many more, their chance of making it to the feature has come to a close, Ryan.
Yeah, Taylor, I'm really excited to see what's going to go down here in this feature as the drivers are now taking part in the warm-up. You see the finishing order of the B main, that tight battle there between Steele and Merriman, those last 2 getting in. Wilkie, the first one going home tonight, Taylor.
He certainly is, but with that, while everyone here is warming up for the feature race, we are going to take a quick commercial break, but when we come back, we're going to bring you the feature race of the Dirt Sprint Car Championship live from the virtual Williams Grove. You're watching it live on Podium eSports. Welcome back to coverage of the Dirt Sprint Car Championship live from the virtual Williams Grove Speedway. Hi, I'm Taylor Burris, and of course joining me is the bearded sim racer Ryan Bauer and our producer Zach Johnson here. And we had Justin Prince earlier calling the heat races along with the alphabet soup, but it's time to go through the starting lineup. On the pole is Kenny Miller, followed by Mason Hannigan, the Little Hurricane, with Cameron Merriman, last round's winner, in the third position. Fourth position is Aiden Berlin, followed by John Helms in fifth. Carlene Cure rounds out the top six. Seventh position will be Lane Stevens, followed by Garrett Holsey in 8th, Austin Semmelman in 9th, and the Hylomaniacs, David Heileman, rounds out your top 10.
Rolling off in the 11th position, number 55 of Hayden Harvey. On the outside of row number 6 will be the number 78 machine of Brian Cross. Keep your eyes on that number 1 of Jeremy St. Louis rolling off 13th. We'll see Justin Stoltz in the 23 machine rolling off 14th. Fast in the B main, Steven Goldner rolling off in the 15th position, with Rico Robles rolling off 16th. Bowen Smith in that number 2 machine lines up next to Tyler Chalk in the 45. And in the final row, we've got Brandon Steele and Curtis Merriman. Taylor, excited here to see what's going to go down. 35 green flag laps in this feature.
35 green flag laps tonight for the feature. No cautions will count towards this race, so it's going to be exciting here from start to finish as we keep an eye on some of the drivers here tonight. Of course, Kenny Miller, who has had one of the fastest cars. Cameron Merriman looking to try to be the first repeat winner of the season. Ryan, quickly before we take the green flag, who are some of the drivers you'll be watching?
Well, you know, last week's winner, Merriman, rolling off in that third position. You definitely got to keep your eyes on him. Austin Semmelman's always got some speed, but looking towards the back of the field, I think the way the track's been worked in, Goldner's going to have the opportunity here to throw down, having some laps out there.
Green flag is out, and we are underway here at Williams Grove as they dive down into turn 1 for the first time. Kenny Miller will hold on to the race lead off turn number 2, down the back straightaway for the first time. Here comes Hannigan now for the second position. The Little Hurricane will move up through the field now as he moves on through the field. Here comes Merriman in third across the line. First lap complete. We are still green as no chaos has ensued just yet.
Oh, there's a gaggle of cars back here. It looks like Brian Cross has gotten into the outside guardrail now as we've got 2 wide, 2x2, going down into turn 3. Semmelman moving up into that 5th position, Taylor.
Here comes Semmelman right now moving up into that top 5 as they work their way down into turns 1 and 2. Semmelman to the inside of the racetrack trying to find a way his right around Aiden Berlin off turn 2. Down the back straightaway, Berlin holds the position as they dive it back into turns 3 and 4. Carlin Cure in the Rocket Setup Racing Shop is also there in the popcorn position to capitalize on these two's mistake. 3 wide for the race lead.
Here we see Miller trying to work towards the inside of Merriman. Merriman getting a hell of a run. We've got 3 wide about under the bridge down into turn 3. Up to the inside goes the number 7 machine. Let's see what they can do here. They come off turn 4. 3 cars under a blanket.
They certainly are as Merriman hit the wall Armco barrier off turn 4 and they were still hitting the Armco off turn 2 as they work their way through. Mason Hannigan now your race leader as they come down the back straightaway entering turn 3 and 4, riding the top side of the racetrack. High wide enhancement, he scrapes the wall off the corner, able to continue down the back front straightaway here as Kenny Miller as well as Cameron Merriman now watch and do battle here at Williams Grove.
Your top 5, Hannigan, Merriman, Miller, Semmelman, Berlin now, as we see Carlin Cure battling in that 6th position, trying to move up here for that top 5. We've got 6 laps down, Taylor, just getting started tonight.
Just getting warmed up as the excitement will reach a boiling point later on here tonight. Carlin Cure has dropped back to 6 after moving up to the 5th position. Heileman and the Hylomaniacs are pulling for him as they works into the 7th position with Lane Stevens hot on his tail in that 8th spot. Down the front straightaway, we'll see our race leader Hannigan still hold on by about 0.2 of a second over Merriman. Merriman still trying to do battle with Kenny Miller as your pole sitter is dropped back to 3rd.
Keep an eye on that 49 machine of David Heileman, last lap, fastest car on the track by almost a full 0.2 of a second. He's moving up now into that 6th position. We'll see what he can do here in the feature.
We'll see what he can do definitely as you got drivers 3 wide and abreast as they work their way off turn 2, able to get themselves organized and continue on their way. That was a battle for that 5th position between Cure, Heileman, and then don't forget Berlin in the mix as they work down the front straightaway.
Last lap, the front two a full half-tenths faster than P3. They're starting to stretch it out here a little bit. Looks like they're staying single file trying to work it out as we've got a side-by-side battle between Miller and Semmelman for that third position.
Semmelman on the inside, or Miller on the top side as they work off turn number 4. You already have 3 drivers out of tonight's race. Jeremy St. Louis, Bowen Smith, John Helms currently behind the wall after some incidents to their race cars. Here they come down entering turns 3 and 4. Hannigan still holds on to the race lane. Big slide for Semmelman as he tries to go for third, but Kenny Miller on the top side and with the big Mo pushes him down the front straightaway.
Hannigan out to almost a half a second lead here, and then that gap over third is another 6/10. Tightening up is that battle for that third position, though, between Miller and Semmelman as Curie looks to get into that top 5, battling the Hylomaniac for P5.
The Hylomaniac is trying to hold on to the 5th spot, but here comes Carlin Cure now for that 6th spot. He'll now try to dive into the inside, utilizing the shortest part of the racetrack. Big slide job. Could we see a crossover by Hyloman? He will try, but not close enough. Down the back straightaway. Hyloman to the inside. Tries to pull the slide. Will he make it stick? So far, yes. Cure with the crossover. Can't able to make it work. Hyloman back into the top 5.
Up here at the front, we've got Merriman all over the back door of Hannigan. They've tried different lines the last couple laps. Now looking at the bottom, trying to find that grip. We about see a wheelie out of Merriman there, running the bottom of the track. Ripping the top, I should say, is Merriman here, and the caution's out.
Caution coming out, I believe, starting with Hayden Harvey getting involved, clipping the Armco up on 2 wheels, and then big contact by, I believe, that was Garrett Holsey in the 88 who made contact with him, sending his car up a little bit into the air and then back down on all 4s.
You hate to see that for Harvey. He was making a solid run there. Looked like he got a little hot into the corners you see here on the replay.
Here you see Harvey tries to go up to the top side, clips the Armco, goes up on 2. There's Holsey with the contact. And I believe one more car might make contact with him. Yep, right there. I don't know who that was right there. I have to get a number on that. That might have been Goldner.
Yeah, it was Goldner. We saw him limping away from the scene of the accident there once we got done viewing that replay. So you're right, Holman involved as well as Harvey. And also the 88 machine of Halsey involved.
So a tough break for some of the drivers who had great runs in their respective heats and going up through the alphabet soup. But it looks like their night will be done as we have completed 14 of the 35 scheduled laps here today at Williams Grove. We'll give you a quick rundown of your top 10. It is Hannigan, then Merriman, Kenny Miller, Austin Semmelman, David Hyloman, your top 5. Then is Carlin Cure, Aiden Berlin, Lane Stevens, Garrett Holsey, who was just involved in that first caution, followed by Brian Cross, rounding out your top 10. Of course, here in dirt racing, the restart will be single file. Pace car lights are off right now, so this will be interesting to see who can survive these closing laps as we keep an eye on the field. Right now, as the leader gives a little bit of a gap between him and the pace truck as they come off turn 2. Ryan, your thoughts on how this race has been so far?
Well, Taylor, I think we're just getting started now. We're not even halfway yet here. We're seeing the drivers work the bottom up off of turn 2, trying to find some grip. It must be slick there in the middle towards the outside of the speedway. We'll see what Hannah can do here on this restart.
We will certainly do that as we keep an eye on it. Green flag is out, and we are back underway here as we see Hannigan pull away.
Up here at the front, we've got, sorry, Taylor. Up here at the front, we've got Miller running in that third position. Now moving up to second as we've got 3 under a blanket coming off of turn number 4. Hannigan out to that lead again by almost half a second.
Here comes Semmelman, though, to the inside. He will get around Kenny Miller, and here comes now Cameron Merriman as well. Now he'll go to the top side of the racetrack as Semmelman holds on to second position. Here they come off turn number 4. It is going to be almost 3 wide, now back to 2 wide as they come across the start-finish line.
Curie in that 6th position watches on as Hyloman goes after Miller here. They're 3 wide off turn number 2. Contact into the outside wall is Hyloman, dropping like a rock through the field.
Hyloman was up as high as 5th, now dropped back down to 9th under heavy pressure now from Brian Cross as they come off of turn number 4. Keeping an eye still on the race lead. It is Hannigan by about 3/10 over Merriman. Off of turn 2, Merriman trying to take the low line off of turn 2, but still not able to make it work. Here comes Semmelman now to the inside of Merriman as he will try to pull the slide job off turn 4, but the high side is still the best line right now for these drivers, as it is still going to be Hannigan, Merriman, Semmelman, and then Miller. So all the men and then a Miller.
All the men and the Miller's men getting to work here as we see Berlin back to that 6th position. Field kind of getting spread out here, Taylor. Looks like the best battle on the track is around that 8th position right now. We've got Heilemann, Stevens, Holsey, and Cross all going to war.
Here they go as we keep an eye on Holsey, Cross, and Stevens as they work their way into turn number 1. You got a car on the outside Armco. That's Carlin Cure able to still keep it going off turn number 2. As in fact, Holsey actually clips the wall a little bit as he comes off turn 2. They're now entering turn 3 and 4. It's Lane Stevens now with a good run in that 8th spot. He tried to hold off Garrett Holsey for 9th as they work their way back into turn 1.
Taylor, Hannigan's the only one running the top down here in 3 and 4 as we see Merriman, Semmelman, Miller, and Curie doing everything they can here on the bottom, trying to get that run. Here we go. They're about side by side, but then again, Hannigan gets that run as they cross the start-finish line. 14 laps to go.
Hannigan definitely showing them how it's done as they're going to go 3 wide almost off of turn number 2, but Hannigan still with the big momentum on his side, trying to hold off these hounds here off of turn 4. These 4 drivers have been battling since the drop of the green flag and not giving up an inch.
Your top 5, Hannigan, Merriman, Semmelman, Miller, and Curie now up into that 5th position as we see Heilemann and Berlin going to war for that 6th position, all while Halsey and Stevens watch on.
Holsey is having a great run in that 9th position. Now he'll drop back to 10th after Brian Cross gets around. Still keeping an eye up on the race lead, but as right now the best battles are inside the top 7 as Heilemann and Berlin will battle for 6th. Heilemann will move back up to 6th and set his sights on Cure.
As we come to 11 laps to go here in the feature, we'd like to remind you that tonight's coverage is presented by Speed Shop 51. Speed Shop 51 is an iRacing setup shop which offers individual setup packs, coaching, custom designs, and much more. Their main goal is to help improve the skill level of all competitors across the iRacing platform. Speed Shop 51 was established in December 2020 by Clayton Tilley. For more information, you can check out their website at www.speedshop51.com. or you can follow them on Facebook and Instagram today.
A big thank you to Speed Shop 51 for coming on board for the Dirt Sprint Car Championship Series here. As we take a look at the replay for the caution, it looks like Heilemann might have been involved with this incident as he'll clip the wall and just send him a careening helicoptering out of turn 4.
You hate to see it for Heilemann. His luck seems to be getting worse out here tonight. Stuck upside down, gonna have to take the tow, Taylor.
He certainly will, and that will put him outside the top 10 and probably a DNF here tonight. Currently, right now, we'll give you a quick rundown of the cars who are out of tonight's race. Rico Robles is 16th, Brandon Steele 17th, Jeremy St. Louis 18th, Bowen Smith 19th, John Helms 20th. As we wait to hear back on a couple of other drivers who are still out on track, it looks like they are drivers such as Stephen Goldner, Curtis Merriman, Justin Stoles, and David Heilemann has just now put it behind the wall. His night is done.
You hate to see it for the Heilemann Maniac's going to drop him down through the field. Looks like he's going to end up finishing in that 15th position out there. We'll see what the rest of the field can do here. Hannigan, Merriman, Semmelman, Miller, and Curie going to war. That top 5, Taylor, going to be restarting the race here with 11 green flag laps to go.
11 green flag laps to go. It's going to be full of excitement, full of chaos, and you got to say, you wanted some of the best. Well, you have the best here tonight at Williams Grove. Pace truck is in. We are about to go green flag racing once again here at Williams Grove. Waiting. Hannigan fires. We are back underway here at Williams Grove, and a great jump by Mason Hannigan as Merriman tries to capitalize on it. He'll dive to the inside of the racetrack, side by side off of turn 2. Hannigan will hold on.
We see Semmelman working that 3rd position, only a 1/10 of a second behind Merriman. Now side by side, 2 by 2 about now as they come off turn 4.
Side by side, 2 by 2. Can we go 3 by 3? Who knows? We'll find out. Here they go. 10 laps to go here as they come off of turn 2. Down the back straightaway, it is still going to be Hannigan holding on over Merriman. Kenny Miller tries to work the outside around Austin Semmelman. Now the inside, he'll cross it over. Carlin Cure now getting into the mix. They're going to take it 2 wide. Now back to 3. Now back to 1. Here they go into turns 1 and 2. Once again, Cameron Merriman trying to find a way around Hannigan.
We also have that battle between Semmelman and Miller going on as they're side by side here into turn number 3. Semmelman working the middle of the track now up to the high side as we see the front two working the very bottom, trying to find that grip, Taylor.
They are trying to find every which way they can to make the car stick through the corners as we now see Merriman try the outside, then cross over to the inside to get around Hannigan. Here comes Merriman to the outside as actually Hannigan's running the inside the most here recently. I don't know why he's switching it up this or late in the going. As we keep an eye on this, we are looking at 8 laps to go here at Williams Grove, now 7.
Yeah, last couple laps looked like Merriman had found some speed. Hannigan trying to take away that line, trying to match those lap times, as now we've got this battle going on here for the lead. Coming to 6 laps to go, Taylor. Now here comes Merriman on the outside. They're side by side about into turn 1. Oh, here goes a slider, a crossover.
Crossover indeed as Merriman will take over the race lead. Now here comes Hannigan back on the outside. Here they come out of turns 3 and 4. Merriman back to the inside. Hannigan on the outside. Trouble for Austin Semmelman as we get the high 5 from the flagman. Down across the start finish line. 5 laps to go.
Take a look at back here at the 3rd position. We've got a battle going on between Miller, Curie, and Semmelman as Merriman now starting to stretch it out a little bit. About 2/10 quicker last lap than Merriman.
As we keep an eye on those things, we'll have to keep an eye on the battle here, but Hannigan trying to hold off the race lead here as they dive it down into turns 1 and 2. Here they come out of the final couple of corners here down the back straightaway. It is going to be 3 laps to go when they get to the line.
Merriman out to over 3/4 of a second, Taylor, putting that lap time down now. 0.6 of a second faster last lap than P2, really stretching it out here as we see Semmelman and Cure going to war here for P4. Closest battle on the track.
It is the closest battle on the track right now as they work their way off of turn 2 down the back straightaway. It is going to be popsicle sticks as they come out of turn 4. 2 laps to go at Williams Grove.
Over half a second for Merriman, showing everybody out here how it's done tonight. Although last lap, Hannigan picked up a 10th. We see them both stretching out that gap over 1.5 seconds back to P3 now, as we see Merriman coming around to the white flag.
White flag is in the air for Cameron Merriman. He is on a charge here as they work their way through turns 1 and 2 for the final time down the back straightaway under the bridge. Hannigan trying everything that he can to see if he can gain ground, but through turns 3 and 4, Cameron Merriman and his merry men will come across the start-finish line and will win and be the first winner to win 2 races this season.
Yeah, first 3 weeks out here, Taylor, first 3 rounds, 3 different winners. Merriman, the first one to go back-to-back, like you mentioned. That's the nice thing about the Dirt Sprint Car Championship Series. Anybody can win any week. Definitely some exciting action.
Certainly is, and you know what? Or some other great exciting action can be found at? The Oceanic Dirt Sim events. Oceanic Dirt Sim events, Australians iRacing League specializes in dirt events. For more info, visit Oceanic_dirt_sim_events on Instagram today. And then, of course, you cannot forget AllStar Visuals, your home for high-quality graphic designs and outstanding customer service. If you're looking for a new racing logo or hero card, look no further. AllStar Visuals has you covered. For more information, visit facebook.com/allstarvisuals. And speaking of your All-Stars, let's go through the final results of the finishing order. Your race winner, Cameron Merriman, wins here tonight at Williams Grove, followed by Mason Hannigan in 2nd. Kenny Miller will come home 3rd, followed by Austin Semmelman in 4th. Carlin Cure will come home in 5th, followed by Aiden Berlin in 6th. Brian Cross in 7th, followed by Tyler Chalk in 8th. Curtis Merriman in 9th, and Stephen Goldner rounds out your top 10.
Coming home in that 11th position tonight in the feature, the 23 of Justin Stoltz. After all the trouble he had tonight, Hayden Harvey can only bounce back to a 12th place finish here tonight in the feature. Coming home in 13th was that number 88 machine of Garrett Holsey, finishing 4 laps down. Also 4 laps down in the number 36 machine was Lane Stevens. With lots of trouble here in this feature and unable to finish, we find David Heileman finishing in the 15th position, 12 laps down. The rest of your running order tonight, 16th through 20th, Rico Robles, Brandon Steele, Jeremy St. Louis, John Helms, and finishing shotgun here on the 20-car feature tonight, Taylor, the number 2 of Bowen Smith. I believe, Taylor, you've caught up with our third-place finisher, Kenny Miller.
We have caught up with Kenny Miller coming home in third tonight. Kenny, you had a great battle all the way through since the drop the green flag and really all night. Tell us about your battle that you had with Merriman, Hannigan, and Austin Semmelman.
Yeah, it was a good battle. You know, it was good, clean racing. It's really good for me, just trying to get experience running with these pro guys on these slick tracks to be able to come away with a third. I mean, I felt really good. You know, obviously there's room for improvement, but I think overall, I think we're headed in the right direction here and hoping to build as the weeks go on.
The next round is at Volusia. Your thoughts on that circuit and how you could come out with possibly a strong finish there?
I think Volusia, you know, I can run there pretty good, so we'll have to put in some laps during the week and see if we can't find a little bit more speed and hopefully be back up front.
Well, before we let you go, is there anyone you would like to say thank you to?
Yeah, I'd like to thank everybody at Phantom Motorsports, Velocity Race Designs, Weichel Sportswear, TD Cinematography, and everybody at DSCCS for putting this on. It's a great league that you guys run.
Certainly so. We look forward to seeing you at the next round.
Thanks, guys.
Next up to come up into the booth is Mason Hannigan coming home P2. As Mason, congratulations on a strong finish. So close on there. Tell us about your battle that you had with Cameron Merriman.
Yeah, Cam's one of the best guys around, and it shows there. And to hold him off for the amount of laps that I did, I was really impressed because in the Pro Series we were a midfield car, and tonight we just set a good qualifying lap, and that's what really gets you set up for the rest of the feature. So. Won the heat race, started second there, and got the lead, and felt really good. And with just a couple errors there in the end when trying to find momentum because it was so slick, and Cam was just the best to not make a mistake.
Well, your thoughts on heading to Volusia and battling it out there and seeing if you can possibly get your first win of the season?
Yeah, I'm not sure. Volusia's really not my strong track. It's probably a mid track for me. I'm not the greatest, but we'll see, and hopefully we can pull off a win. But it's really hoping tonight we would.
Well, Mason, is there anyone you'd like to say thank you to before we let you go?
Yeah, Motorsports, Tim Sims, Fads Eyewear, UDTV. Can't thank Brody for putting on this league, and can't thank you guys for broadcasting it. And congrats to Cam and Kenny on the runs.
Of course, we'll see you next week at Volusia. And with that, our race winner here, Cameron Merriman, he has caught up with Ryan Bauer to talk about his second win of the season.
The first driver to go back-to-back in the 2021 Dirt Sprint Car Championship Series. How does it feel, Cameron Merriman?
That was exciting. I mean, honestly, the race with Mason there for, I don't know how long it was, felt like most of the race was probably some of the best, wheel-to-wheel action I've had with other drivers in a racecraft perspective, from a racecraft perspective for many months at the Grove. That was absolutely phenomenal. I think that the track was very racy and different lines were coming at the end. I think Mason actually probably had a little bit of speed on me there at the end, but I wasn't in a position to compromise my line. So, I mean, that was just phenomenal. It had me on my toes the whole time.
Was there anything you learned at Weed Sport last week that you were able to apply to your racecraft this week at Williams Grove?
Interesting question, but I think that ultimately the answer is no. I've put in so many hundreds of laps at each of these tracks, and I'm good at some and not good at others. And it turns out that two of my favorite tracks on the sim right now are Weed Sport and Williams Grove. And I guess if I'm going to expand a bit on your question, that not to say that there are no aspects of it, but certainly both of these tracks are tough to run on the bottom because of the presence of an interior, like hard concrete wall. Right here at the Grove, we've got these kind of barriers sporadically put throughout a corner in 1 and 2. You've got to navigate your way around that central barrier, and then also be mindful of the barrier off of 2. And at Wheatsport, it's really tough around the bottom because actually it feels like both corners 1, 2, 3, and 4 are separate apexes. So it's a lot of finesse on the wheel and throttle inputs. And so from that perspective, I mean, they're wildly different tracks, but they're actually very similar in that respect, that it takes a lot of finesse on the driver inputs to run the bottom well. And so I think that late in the race, I thought that the bottom had to be the quick way around. You know, Austin Sumlin was showing great pace behind on the split, so I figured I'd put it down there, and Mason stuck with the top, and I think I ended up getting by him when he blundered up on the top for a moment. So not sure it was the quickest way around, but it was very consistent, certainly.
Yeah, you certainly had a good run out there tonight. I know it's on everybody's mind, so I'll go ahead and ask you, can you go back-to-back for a 3-peat next week at Volusia?
Volusia, yeah. Well, if there's going to be any track that I might stand a chance of doing it, you know, I put myself in the running. I certainly won't be the one to put my name at the top of the bill to be able to do it. You know, Bergeron has shown, Alex has shown absolute dominance to that track before, but, you know, I think some of us in the field have kind of figured out the tricks there. So, you know, ultimately, like you see tonight, if you get mired back in the field and have to run the alphabet soup, it can be really, you put yourself in an incredibly vulnerable position, right, in terms of being able to make the feature. So ultimately, it all comes down to having a good qualifying performance and not making any, you know, critical mistakes in the heat race to put yourself in that kind of position. So if I can put those things together, you know, I might throw my name in the hat to potentially be able to do a 3-peat, but it's going to be a challenge, and it's certainly, there's no easy win here with the DSCCS. So it's been crazy. That was a wild race. It was a pleasure to be here.
Well, impressive run tonight, Cam. Is there anybody you need to thank out there?
I'd just like to, you know, thank my pops for hanging out with me. Curtis in the race made the feature tonight. It was awesome of him. He and I hang out all the time. This is a nice way for us to spend time together. And obviously, I'd like to thank all my friends and family, my wife for supporting me and hanging out, watching the broadcast, and obviously you guys for putting on the broadcast, and Brody putting on the series. It's phenomenal what you guys put on. It's great to watch. So I appreciate it very much.
Congratulations from everybody at Podium Esports. Cameron, we'll see if you can go back-to-back for that 3-peat next week at Volusia, and have a great week, and we'll hopefully talk to you in Victory Lane next week.
Thanks. Take care.
A great interview with a great driver, Cameron Merriman. As Ryan, that comes to a close. It's time that we look ahead to some great events, and looking at the schedule, we have some great ones starting tomorrow night. IndyCar racing. The IndyCar iRacing Challenge kicks off at Homestead Miami Speedway Thursday, March 25th at 6:30 p.m. You can catch the action on twitch.tv/iRacing. Then, for those of you who are fans of sports car racing and all things Sebring, we're going to get things kicked off for your Sebring weekend on the iRacing service with the PCA Sim Racing Zone Group Challenge. The Porsche 911 RSRs at Sebring, Friday, March 26th at 8 p.m. You can catch the action on youtube.com/PCA Sim Racing. More dirt car racing from Bristol on the MSRA Premier Series Round 7 begins Saturday night under the lights at 8 p.m. on twitch.tv/podium2. The MPI Cup Series kicks off their round at Atlanta at 9:15 Sunday, March 28th. You can catch the action on twitch.tv/podium eSports. Then from the East Coast to the West Coast, the eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series kicks off at Auto Club Speedway Tuesday, March 30th at 8:30 p.m. for Countdown to Green on twitch.tv/iRacing and eNASCAR.com. Of course, we'll be back here with the Dirt Sprint Car Championship Series for round number 6 at Volusia. In fact, my home track, Wednesday, March 24th it won't be March 24th, actually. It will actually be on March 31st at 9 p.m. on Podium Esports YouTube, Podium 2, Twitter, and Podium, as well as the Dirt Sprint Car Channel, Sprint Car Championship Facebook page. And then finally, on Thursday, April, would it be April 2nd, I believe, Ryan?
April 8th, Taylor.
April 8th.
Thursday, April 8th.
The eNASCAR Road to Pro qualifying series is kicking off their third race of the season with the trucks at Richmond. Catch the action on twitch.tv/podium esports. Ryan, any final thoughts after tonight's great racing action?
I think it was just overall a great battle, and we heard from our winner, lots of racecraft out there tonight. It's hard to catch a good race at this speedway sometimes based on what I've seen in the official series, so a special shout out to all the drivers in this league. A lot of talent out here, Taylor, and just the takeaway really from tonight is I'm impressed with what Merriman was able to do. He's able to go back to back, kind of breaking that streak we saw of single winners going all the way back to last season. So I think the pressure's on Merriman at Volusia, and like he said, Bergeron's definitely going to be on the hunt. That is definitely one of his strongest tracks.
It certainly is. But with that, it is time that we come to a close. For Brody Wilhelm at the Dirt Sprint Car Championship Series, for James Pike, Cisco Scarmuzza, Gary Sexton, and John Theodore at Podium eSports. For my colleagues in the booth, Ryan Bauer and Justin Prince, and our producer, Zach Johnson, I'm Taylor Burris. Thank you so much for watching tonight's broadcast. We hope to see you next Wednesday from Volusia.